Hey, everybody. Hope everybody is doing okay tonight. It has been a very eventful day, a very eventful couple of weeks. Believe it or not, this is kind of sort of our anniversary for those of you guys who started following me about Ballad Health. This is officially 2 weeks to the day. So a lot has transpired in those 2 weeks. I'm going to take this opportunity to give you guys a really good overview of everything, and then we're going to dig into some meat and potatoes. Hey Christy, hey Terry, hey Heather, hi Lori, hey Brian. How is everybody? You guys doing all right? I'll give it a minute for everybody to come on in here and say hello. I do have a lot to cover tonight, so I want to be very hey Kimberly, I want to be very concise in my sharing, but I do want you to be well equipped. You're very welcome, Daryl. You're very welcome. So that was the oven. I'm making homemade vegetable soup and homemade pot pie for my mama and my nephew for dinner. So the oven is ready for the pot pie to go in there. Hey, Mariana. Hey, Bridget. Okay, so hey, Jessica. Mom, we can put the pot pie. Okay, I didn't know if you heard it. All right, so let me bring you guys up to speed and kind of let you know what's going on and then where we are. Hey, Brittany. Hey, Laswella. Okay, so I want to give you guys a little bit of information. So just bear with me for a second, and I'll get to questions later. So do me a favor, guys. Don't share stories right now like they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing that, because I want everybody to be really, really focused on the information that I'm going to give you. And then at the very end, I will open it up. And if you have specific questions that I can try to answer for you, I definitely want to be able to do that. But I really want us to get laser focused, because that's one of the things with this whole issue that we have going on with Ballad. There's so many moving parts that I want us to be very focused on the things that we can impact right now, the things that need the greatest attention, the things that we need to really be taking care of. You know what I mean? So as you can see, I am not back in Atlanta. I am still here. I came home to help you guys out with that, and I'm still here. I've been here for about a week now. So we're going to keep going on this deal. Hey, LaDonna. Hey, Lucretia. I'm not going to say hi to everybody because there's a lot of you, but know that I see you. Hello. And let's get going. Okay, so the title of tonight's live is The State of Tennessee's Incestuous Relationship with Ballad Health and More Concerning Information That You Need to Know. So let's talk about what I mean when I say, hey, Daryl, incestuous relationship. So you all know that, in the very beginning of this thing, I found out that shortly after Tennessee issued the COPA to Ballad Health, Senator Rusty Crowe sponsored legislation for them called SB 2048. SB 2048 is a piece of legislation that is intended to get rid of the transparency that your COPA was supposed to give you. The reason for the Cooperative Agreement for public advantage was so that that Ballad Health would have to be transparent with us in terms of what they were doing. Now, here's what's really, really important. The justification for this COPA was that they needed to protect information from competition. Well, you have a medical monopoly over this region, so my first question is, who's your competition? Because there isn't anybody. You're it. That's the whole problem with this thing, right? And the second thing is, if you wanted to keep things like marketing plans and business audits, if you wanted to keep that stuff private, I could see that. But the things that they are keeping private from you are things like services being closed down, services or institutions and facilities being repurposed. Hey, Chris, how are you? All of those different things. And so those are things that you all have a right to know and that you need to know for your health and well-being, right? So one of the things that you all don't know, and I want to continue to talk about this, is so this is a conflict of interest. When you have a state senator, Senator Rusty Crowe, who is a representative of the state, he has constituents that he represents, and he's a contracted paid employee for Ballad Health, that's a direct conflict of interest, which is why I said incestuous relationship. Got it? Well, there's more. What if I told you all, let me ask you all this. Do you know who had to approve the COPA? Do you all know that the state health department had to approve the COPA? Did you know that? Now, do you know who the commissioner of the state health department is for Tennessee? That would be John Dreisner. John Dreisner is the commissioner for the state health department in Tennessee. Why is that important to you? Well, his wife, you heard me right, I said his wife, Jana Dreisner, is an employee of Ballad Health. She is the Medical Director of Psychiatry for the Norton, Virginia location and Dickenson County. So just follow me, guys. If I'm the commissioner of the Tennessee State Department of Health, and it's my job to determine whether or not Ballad Health gets and qualifies for this COPA, and my wife is employed by them, and my wife established a company called Starfish Health LLC that has a telehealth contract with Ballad Health. It's kind of in my best interest and my family's best interest to give them the COPA. So I keep saying, yeah, how about that, right? And let me just say this, kudos to you guys who are helping me dig. I love the teamwork that we are doing so much, because I'm just one person, right? So I love the fact that I ask you guys to help me find that information, and you are. And once you give it, I give it to someone else, and somebody else does the digging. So here's what I need you to understand. I have said that the reason why we need the state action immunity lifted, the reason why Ballad Health should not qualify for state action immunity and they have antitrust violations is because the Tennessee Department of Health cannot be trusted to oversee this COPA. They cannot be trusted to make sure that Ballad Health maintains its commitments to the people of this region, because the commissioner of the Tennessee State Department of Health's wife works for Ballad Health as a medical director. And she started a company, get this guys, in March of 2014 called Starfish Health LLC. And at some point since then, she has negotiated a telehealth contract with Ballad Health. That is a direct conflict of interest. You cannot tell me that that's not a violation of the COPA. You cannot tell me that that is not grounds to have this whole thing just stopped. And I need you all to understand this. This COPA is not written in stone. This is not permanent. This is not something that cannot be undone. It will take work to have it undone. It will take a whole lot of pulling together, and it's not going to be pretty when it is. But you need to understand that the way that the COPA is written, the COPA says that it can be suspended, modified, or terminated at any point in time, that there is a greater risk and disadvantage to the public than there is benefit by the fact that there's no more competition in this area. So not only do we have a state senator who works for Ballad Health, right? Not only do we have Gary Miller, who was supposed to be your COPA compliance officer, whose salary is paid by Ballad Health. Now we have the Tennessee State Department of Health Commissioner's wife, who's a medical director for Ballad Health, and whose company, Starfish Health LLC, has a telehealth contract with Ballad Health. This is a problem. Have y'all caught up with me yet? How is all of that? Are y'all kind of taking all of that in? So when Rusty Crowe and Terry Kilgore and all these folks tell you, oh, we have been blindsided, bullshit. You haven't been blindsided. The reason you haven't been blindsided is because you all set up a company to have a telehealth contract with them. So don't tell me that you didn't know, Commissioner. Don't tell me State of Health Tennessee Commissioner that you didn't know, because your wife works for the company as a medical director. Your wife established her own company with a contract with Ballad Health. So no, sir, I don't believe you. The same way that I don't believe Alan Levine didn't know what his past company was doing. These are the things. Hey, Mindy, how are you? And guys, listen, there's a lot of comments coming in. So if I don't see them, know that I just don't see them. So here's what's happening. Ballad Health is feeling the heat. They are feeling the heat. I have been told that my name is specifically coming up in their huddles and in their meetings, that the employees are being threatened not to watch my lives, not to forward my lives, not to post them, any of those things, or they can be terminated. I have also been told that Ballad Health has approached, matter of fact, let me just be specific. I have been told that Eric Deaton has approached certain people and asked, what would it take to make all of this go away? I have also been told that they are slowing down because they intentionally were going to get rid of the NICU and the labor and delivery and the peds and put everybody, Holston Valley and Indian Path, into one facility in about 6 to 9 months. But they have since decided, oh, we're going to slow that down. Do you want to know why? Because of the level of public outcry that is happening right now. And they are saying they want to wait and give it time for things to die down. Well, let me be clear. Let me say it loudly. Let me say it proudly. Let me enunciate my words. I'll even slow it down for you. I am not going anywhere. My voice is not going to get any quieter. As a matter of fact, it's only going to get louder, and it's only going to get bigger, and I'm going to reach as many people in as many places as I possibly can and shine the biggest, brightest light on every single one of you that is in bed together at the expense of these people in this community. So let me just tell you, Lisa Carter, Eric Deaton, Tony Keck, Alan Levine, if you think, Bobby Murphy, Bobby McClellan, any of you all, if you think I'm going somewhere, if you think I'm not going, even if I go home to Atlanta, do you remember how big my voice was when I was in Atlanta? I will be back and forth from Atlanta to here. I'm a soldier, sweetheart. I'm built for this. I'm built for it. And I'm not just built for a battle, sweetheart. I'm built for war. I come from a military family. This is what we do. And so here's what happens. I need you to understand, when I signed up, when I took an oath, I said that I would protect the people of this country from threats, both foreign and domestic. And you guys are a domestic threat to the livelihood and well-being of the people in this region. That's what you need to know. That's what you need to understand. That's who you are. And we are not going anywhere. Guys, I need for you all, as intent as you are right now, I swear, 30 days from now, you need to be this intent. You need to be this passionate. You need to be this wound up. You need to be emailing people. You need to be calling people. You need to be every single day. You cannot let up, because your lives literally do depend on it. Your lives depend on it. I'm going to share with you some information, as if what I've given you isn't enough. I'm going to share with you some additional information that I want you to know. Some of these things I can confirm. Some of these things I can't have specifics, because there are certain things, when people share things with me, there's HIPAA involved. So we have to be very careful about what information I get versus what information I don't get, and those types of things. So I just want you all to hear me and hear me well, okay? Now, whew, see, I get hives when I get all worked up. All right, so here's the deal. My ears are hot. I want to read you guys some information. I am checking messages, and here's what I will tell you. There have been a couple of people who said they sent me emails that I did not get. Reach out to me, ask me if I got them. If I didn't, I'm going to have you send it back, send it again. This is really, really important. Now, here's the information that I want you to understand. There's a lot of things going on that we might consider to be wrong, right? And we do want to know those. But the things that we need right now are the things that you guys that are documented. So, for example, I'm just going to throw this out here, and you interpret it how you would like, because I'm not going to direct you to do anything. What I am going to do is tell you what you can do, okay? So here's what you can do. In the state of Tennessee and Virginia, you have what's called a one-party consent. That means you legally can record any conversation that you have with someone, and you don't need their permission to do so, because you are part of that conversation. So as long as you consent to the recording, you can absolutely do it. Now, I am not telling you to do that. I'm just saying that if you happen to be in any sort of meeting or any sort of, get together where you're being threatened for your livelihood or your employment, or whether you're being given specific instructions about how to admit people into the hospital, or, what you need to do and how you need to bill people and all of those different types of things, if you desired to record those conversations, you absolutely could, and it would be legal to do so. So I'm just throwing that out there for you. Do with it what you will. Be careful, whatever you choose to do with it. And that's how you know, okay? All right, so let's keep it moving. I want to share a couple of things with you that really concern me. So there is a cancer treatment center in Southwest Virginia, in Norton, okay? In Norton, Virginia, they have been told by the parent pharmacy, right, which was Misha, Mountain States Health Alliance, so that's Ballad's folks, right? And here's what happens. They have been told that they can no longer prescribe Remicade to patients there, whether they are outpatient or inpatient. Now, I have never seen any place where a pharmacist can tell physicians what they can prescribe to their patients. And when they were questioned about why this medication was no longer able to be prescribed because it's no longer on formulary, they were told, listen, the bottom line is no more Remicade, and if the physicians don't like it, they can send their patients elsewhere. Well, here's the problem with that. Elsewhere would mean Wytheville or Knoxville, right, which is outside of the area, and this is the problem with having a medical monopoly. So again, when we talk about what are the issues with this COPA, right, the COPA specifically says the minute that the disadvantages of not having competition outweigh the benefits of having this merger, then the COPA can be suspended, terminated, modified, or whatever. So listen, Ballad Health would not be able to say to physicians, hey, you can't prescribe this to your patients, and if you don't like it, you can take them somewhere else. If they had competition, they would not be able to do that, right? If they had competition, they would not be able to threaten their employees and say, you need to keep quiet and not speak up. Got it? It is absolutely all about the 340B pricing, Brooke. You're correct. That's why they want so many things under one roof. Now, this is why it's an antitrust violation. This is why the FTC needs to get back involved. Now, I'll be quite frank. The FTC is like, look, we tried to warn you guys, right? It's like, you know, when I don't know, when your sister wants to date that boy and you're like, girl, he ain't no good. And she's like, but he's so cute. And he says he's going to do this for me. And he says he's going to do that for me. And you're like, yeah, girl, but I'm just telling you, I don't see that he's going to do that. He's really bad for you. And she goes ahead and dates him anyway. And then when she comes crying, you're like, well, you crying, but I told you not to date him. That's kind of how the FTC is feeling about us in this moment. So my response to the FTC today, because I called today and I said, listen, I know that you all told us not to do this. I know that you all begged us not to do this, and we trusted our state legislatures to protect us and to do the right thing, because the general public doesn't run hospitals. The general public doesn't understand hospital mergers and 340B and, you know, safety net hospitals and all of those different things. The general public doesn't know if this is in their best interest or not. This is your responsibility to know. Right? This is what our state representatives were supposed to be able to know and protect the people from, and they did not do that for us. So what I have asked the FTC and what I want you to ask the FTC is, don't punish us for our state representatives being in bed with this corporation, because they are. Don't punish the people. The people do not deserve to die. And now that we're going to talk about death, and we're going to talk about limited access to healthcare, and we're talking about reduced quality of care, let's get into that. Let me tell you some things that I have been told, okay? So this is what I have been told. I told you the deal already about the cancer center. How about this? There is a hospice facility behind the Bristol Hospital. They closed that hospital facility for a little bit because there was no licensed pharmacist, right? They opened that up, right? But still with no pharmacist. So I want you all to understand what I'm telling you. The hospice facility here in Bristol does not have medication to give to its patients. They have to have that medication brought from elsewhere to them. And what I have been told is that there are delays in getting that medication to them at some times. And so some patients are not getting what they need when they need it. So just follow me. You're dying. You're on hospice, right? The whole idea is for you to be able to go peacefully and comfortably, which means you should be able to have your medications. That's what that means, right? Why are we cutting costs to the degree that people don't have what they need? Like, and here's what I need y'all to understand. It's not that I hate Ballad Health, right? I don't like what they're doing. Because listen, they had an opportunity to come in here and do the right thing by the people, but they're not. They're not. And since they are not, and they're trying to cover it up with private meetings with county commissioners and private town halls with their employees and all of those things, we have no trust. So here's what needs to be demanded. You all need to demand that SB 2048 be repealed. That's the first thing that needs to happen. You need to pick up the phone and blow up Rusty Crowe's office, and you need to say, sir, along with Gary Hicks, sir, we want SB 2048 repealed. We do not want Ballad Health to be able to hide under a blanket of secrecy and leave us out in the cold so that we don't know what's happening. Because that's what this bill allowed them to do. Let me tell you what's happening right now, guys. Let me tell you what's happening right now. Indian Path Medical Center no longer has a cath lab. Now, you would know that if you went to the Ballad Health website. Do you want to know why? It's SB 2048, Amy. Ballad Health's website actually says that Indian Path has a cardiac cath lab. It even gives you the telephone number for it. The problem is that they closed the cardiac cath lab in August of this year. But if you're someone who's been going to that hospital your whole life and you get to be treated for your heart problems there, you don't know that it's not there anymore because SB 2048 allowed Ballad to not have to tell you when they take services away from your local hospital. Thank you, Terry. So what's happening right now, and I got this information from someone internal, what's happening right now is people have been going to Indian Path with heart attacks, heart issues, heart palpitations, and there's no cardiac cath lab. So once they get there, they're then having to be transferred somewhere else. And hopefully, if they're stable enough. Now, I have been told that there has been one, if not more than one patient who was not stable enough for transfer and also expired. That's what I've been told. I've also been told that in the last 2 months, even though the state health department has not approved them closing down the Holston Valley Medical Center NICU, I need you all to hear this. They have not approved that Holston Valley Medical Center's NICU level 3 be closed down. There's like maybe 1 or 2 babies there at this moment. And the reason why is because in the last 2 months, they have taken 8 babies, 2 from Lonesome Pine and 6 from Indian Path. Geographically, the best thing for these babies would have been to go to Holston Valley. And instead of those babies being taken to Holston Valley, the closest place for them to be treated, they were taken to Johnson City instead. And they were not on a diversion. They were just taken there regardless. And what has been said, and it was said in the Scott County Board of Supervisors meeting earlier this week, and I did speak to someone who said in pediatrics that it did happen, that 2 of those babies expired. Now, if these things are true, the changes that Ballad Health has already implemented without the state's approval has cost the lives of at least 2 babies and possibly 2 babies and at least 1 adult. So here's what I want to know. Is there a lawsuit applicable for this? Because isn't that a violation of the COPA? If you are implementing changes that have not been approved and it costs people their life in the process, isn't that a violation of the COPA? Isn't that enough disadvantage for us to put a stop to this? Isn't that enough disadvantage? Somewhere a mother and a family is grieving. Somewhere somebody is in tears because their baby's dead. If these things are in fact true. I'm listening to you guys. Okay, so these are the things that are happening. Okay, this is why I'm telling you, do not stop shouting. Do not stop screaming from the top of your lungs. I know that for you employees, it can seem scary. I get that. But we need your voices because you're on the inside. You can say what's happening. You can say to people, this is what this means for the livelihood of these people. Well, Lucretia, it's really simple, right? We demand that SB 2048 be repealed, and we demand that someone outside of Ballad Health be responsible for monitoring the COPA, because that's not the case right now. Right now, Gary Miller gets paid to monitor the COPA. Well, so Randy, that's a conversation. I actually have a call tomorrow with an attorney to see what else can happen legally. Now, I want to talk to you guys. You've heard a lot of talk about NICU volume, right? You've heard a lot of talk about how, oh, NICU volume is the most important thing. And you heard me read from the American Academy of Pediatrics, that volume that says, wow, that publication that says, while volume is helpful, right? It only refers to very low birth weight babies. Now, I received an email from a very high up y'all know I can't say it, neonatologist, right? Neonatologist. And this is what was shared with me. And I need you all to pay attention to this, because this is really, really important. You hear Alan Levine talking about this 100 babies number, right? So listen, that number is not referring to the total number admissions to the NICU. That number is only talking about the number of babies that are very low birth weight babies, which means the babies that weigh less than 3.3 pounds or 1,500 grams. That's what it means, okay? So listen, in almost all NICUs, the majority of the admissions are not from very low birth weight babies. They're from premature babies. They're from NAS babies. They're from respiratory distress babies. They are not from very low birth weight babies. So what we need to know, the information that would be helpful, is to know how many very low birth weight babies Johnson City Medical Center, their NICU has had, and how many has Holston Valley had. Like, that's a number that's worth looking at. How many very low birth weight babies have you all had in comparison to each other? Because that's the only thing that we're talking about. Absolutely. They're only taking pieces of the data and skewing them so that they look like, and then they'll say, well, that's incorrect information. Until you can tell me what's incorrect, I don't care what you have to say. I can also tell you that people who are very familiar with, whether it's because they worked there or had it taught there or whatever, what I can tell you is that there is extreme concern about the ability for Johnson City's NICU to be able to handle all of these babies, because it's going to drain their resources. They are understaffed as it is. Right. I am aware that blood assurance no longer takes blood there. I am aware of that. I am aware of that. There's a lot of other things that I'm not going to be able to talk about all of them on this live at one time, right? But I want you all to hear some of the big things that need to be takeaways from what's going on. Now, I will also tell you this. I have talked to the city manager's office here in Bristol, and they have a city council meeting this Tuesday here in Bristol, and I have requested to be put on the agenda. Kudos to Hawkins County. Hawkins County actually reached out to me to offer to put me on the agenda so that I had more time to speak and I had more time to be able to give data and information and facts. So thank you very much. I will be at that meeting December the 17th. So here's what I will tell you. The Bristol City Council meets on Tuesday. I have requested to be put on the agenda so that I can have longer than 3 minutes to give them information. I have been told that they should be able to do that, and I will get confirmation of that tomorrow. Either way, I will be there. What I'm going to ask is anybody who is in this area, especially if you are a pediatrician, if you are a trauma surgeon, if you are a nurse, I need you to strap on your courage and come out to that meeting and explain to the council what these changes mean, both to your patients and to your families, to your employment and your livelihood. It's critical that you do that because these folks are not medically trained. They don't have that background, and they need your expertise so that they understand what's happening. Okay? I think I have covered almost everything that I really, really wanted to get out and let you all know. There is information about helicopters and transport and all of those different things. Here's my thing. Those things need to be addressed. What I want to do is I want to figure out the end game. Okay, so what's the end game? Here's my thought. My thought is, A, you repeal SB 2048, so that Ballad Health has to be 100% transparent and 100% accountable to the people in this community, because you deserve to know what's happening. Jessica, it's this Tuesday, and I believe it's at 7 p.m. If you go to the Bristol website, you'll see it there, but it is it's the council city meeting. So, right, 340B affects all of everything, Brooke, correct. And that's why they moved the cancer treatment to Indian Path, to beef up the numbers so that they qualify for that discount. December 17th is Hawkins County. Let me be clear. December 17th is Hawkins County meeting, okay? And then this Tuesday, which is the first Tuesday of every month, is the Bristol City Council meeting, okay? Thank you, Ullman. And then I am scheduled to meet personally with Ballad Health on December the 13th. So I haven't been home yet to Atlanta. I'm still here. I do know how to reach Dr. Spivey. I do. And I do know that he will be at the Bristol meeting. I do know that. Yes. So what I want to do, like right now, and guys, if you want to ask me questions about insurance and transport, those are things that I don't know that anybody has all of the answers to right now. So just be patient. Randy, can you throw up for me the location of the Hawkins County meeting, please? Can you do that? Christy, I doubt that they would agree for it to be live. I have asked to bring some folks with me. And I'm still putting together who that's going to be. You can best believe that it will be on the record in some form or fashion. Yeah, but now's the time to hold your representatives accountable, guys. Blow up the state health department tomorrow. The Tennessee State Health Department Commissioner. If you missed the beginning of the live, let me just refresh the bombshell that I dropped. The commissioner of the Tennessee State Health Department, who is the person who approves and oversees this COPA with Ballad Health, his wife, his name is John Dreisner. His wife is Jana Dreisner. Jana Dreisner is a medical director for Ballad Health, Oversight Psychiatry in Norton, Virginia, and Dickenson County. She also established Starfish Health LLC in 2014. And at some point since establishing that LLC, she negotiated and has a contract, a telehealth contract with Ballad Health. So the fact is, we cannot trust the state to protect us from these changes that Ballad Health is doing, because even the commissioner of the Tennessee Department of Health, who is overseeing this whole thing, is in bed with Ballad. So you got Senator Rusty Crowe, who is a paid contracted employee. You have the state health commissioner's wife, who is employed by them. They have an independent contract with them for telehealth services, so they're making money off of this. Can we really expect for them to have us in their best interest? The answer is a big flat flaming no. So I wanted to give you that information. I will continue to be here. They are counting on you all getting tired. They are counting on you feeling overwhelmed. They are counting on you feeling like there's nothing you can do. What I am telling you is you fight until you are dead in the water, because if you don't, you're going to be dead anyway. I will put all of the information at the top of this live. So what I always do is when I finish the live, I go back into the description at the very top, and I will put all of the contacts for the people that you need to contact, including the FTC, the State Health Department, and all of those folks. I will put that at the very top of it. Some of you have asked me how you can help me help you, since I'm away from home, and this is obviously not my day job. So I did create a page for you guys to be able to donate. For those of you guys who have, I am sincerely grateful, because it has definitely helped with all of the stuff and all of the research and the time that I've been given, and the time that I'm here away from my home. So I do appreciate that, and I will post that link at the top of here as well. So I do appreciate you all helping me continue to help you. So that's really all I have for right now. Let me say this. There are some big things happening. People are finding courage. People are stepping up. People are working together. I need you to understand there are some very, very big things that are happening that can help us win this fight. It's just going to take a little time. So stay hopeful, stay mindful, and pressure these shit out of your state officials and your representatives, and make sure that they do what you elected them to do, and that they undo the mess that they've gotten us in. Okay, you guys are very welcome. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, I might go back home at some point to get in my bed, but I will be back. What I mean is that my voice is not going anywhere. My voice, my pressure, my digging, my investigating, all of that stuff isn't going anywhere, Ballad Health. So if you are waiting for this to go away and for me to pick another topic, I just strap up your boots, buddy, because we're going to be in this shit for a good long while. I ain't got nowhere else to be. You forget, my mama lives here. My daughter lives here. My grandbabies live here. If you think I'm leaving their well-being to you, you got another thing coming. I will fight until I have no breath. And so will the people in this community. I'm betting on it, and I know it, because this is what we need for your health and well-being forever. So, Jason, there is someone who's trying to put together a rally locally. I need to follow up on that and see kind of where we are with that. That is something that that everybody's working on. So Ketron, I will say this. I know that Jackie DeFusco did do a really good segment the other day that represented the community very well. I'm hoping that does continue to be the case. I am kind of like, I'm a little taboo. They deal with me when they have to, but they don't really want to deal with me one-on-one. People, for whatever reason, the news is very hesitant to talk about Alan Levine's history, the company that he used to work for. And here's the thing, no, I'm not asking anybody to investigate that, but here's the thing, when you show me who you are, I believe you. And Alan Levine showed me who he was when he worked for HMA. So I believe you, sir. I believe you, especially since I've already gotten, listen, I have actual evidence of Ballad Health telling people to admit patients who do not meet the inpatient guidelines, simply because there's a Medicaid policy called the 2 midnight rule that allows it to happen. But just because it allows it doesn't mean that it's supposed to be the case. So I do have some of that stuff. So Vince, that's what we're hoping. We are hoping that the FTC will come and step in. They tried to warn us. For 2 years, they told us don't do this. Okay? And Bobby, I'm working on the national side of things. I'm working on the national piece. I will let you all know when the work pays off. I will tell you this, it's real close. Okay? So stay along for the ride. I appreciate you all very much. Share, let people know what's happening. Tell your neighbors, your people that aren't on Facebook, spread the word, get everybody involved in this process, because everyone's life truly does depend on it, okay? Now, if you're new to my lives, I always end the same way, okay? You guys are gonna learn these 3 phrases really, really quickly. You ready? This is how I end every live. Be amazing, be light, and be love. That's how I end everything. So I appreciate you all. I will see you all probably tomorrow night, if not night after, and I will see you soon. Peace. Bye, Mindy.